We'll call to order the meeting of the Recycling Corporate Affairs Committee, June 12th, 9 a.m. We'll ask Mr. Hughes to do the invocation and Ms. Creech to do the pledge for us.
Okay, we'll take just a minute. Father, we'd just like to take this time to thank you for continuing to bless us and keep us strong. We ask that you go with us through this meeting so that we make our best decisions. These and all other blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We just need an approval for the agenda. If we could have a motion.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
To approve the agenda, we'll go to item 1. Ms. Murphy, tell us about the Horry County Library and Building a Better World.
Yes,
The
sir.
update.
After our last meeting, myself, Ms. Johnson, and Ms. Hooks, we met with the youth services representatives from each of the 10 libraries in Horry County to discuss their summer program, the Build a Better World program. And had a good meeting, offered our services with regard to what they're doing, of course, over the course of the summer, as well as any other programs or things they might be running. Since that time, I had another discussion last week with Ms. Lynn McKirkin from the Conway Library. Ms. Pam had talked with them several times about their, I'll call it their community display case, and placing Solid Waste Authority information in that display case. They do it for nonprofit organizations just to have a way to get their information out. We'll have use of that display case during the month of July, which is the same time that Ms. Hooks will be there doing their summer reading presentation and craft with them. So that will all tie together there. We also, after meeting with them, we talked to them about our guidebooks, which is our biggest piece of literature that we hand out that includes information on every program that we do here. And asked if they would take our guidebooks and display them in every library, so that if you're new to Horry County, you go to the library for information, which they do still have information stations, our guidebook will be there for them to talk about what you do with your solid waste or recycling. And so we've since delivered guidebooks to each one of the libraries, so they all have them now in hand to distribute as they need, and they have the also information that when they run out, call us. We have plenty, so just want to let you know where we're at on that.
So we're really not involved in the educational process in terms of instructing, or when you said volunteered your services or offered your services, we're really not involved other than providing materials and.
We're involved as much as they want us to be involved. For instance, when Kendra goes to Conway Library next month, she's going to be reading our recycling. We have storybooks that we read when we do presentations at schools and things. And for that presentation, we'll be doing story time with the children, as well as a craft with them. So we'll literally be in there actually actively doing something. When in some other areas, librarians might say, well, all I need you to do is come out and bring me this, this, and this, and I'll take it from there. So we left it at their discretion. However they need our assistance, we're there to help.
Good. Great. Any questions?
Mr. Gray talked with me right before he left and said he had talked with you about Chapin.
Yeah, our plan was to, when we were visiting the libraries, to also visit Chapin Library. I don't know definitely that we made it to Chapin. Kendra's out today. She was doing that side of the county. So I told him to take my card, and if we haven't, we'll do. And if we had, they'll just have my card.
Okay, I don't know if he's on the board or he's doing something
I'm
with
not
them.
sure.
But he said when he went by, he would speak with them, so I'm not sure what that means, but
Well, that's fine. Yeah.
okay. He
Yeah, we're
said
good.
you were on board with that.
We are good.
So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And, you know, in Kendra and Victoria's spare time, and I say that loosely because I'm sure they don't have any. You remember the lady that wrote Sully the Seagull that had to do with plastics, and it's in the library and whatever? Have y'all written any
We've-
books that,
Have we written any books? No, ma'am.
okay,
No, we haven't. No, we have not.
okay.
No.
Well, that's interesting. I just wondered what you were reading them at, to
Oh, there's-
educate them
There's
at the
many one of their,
recycling books.
yes, ma'am, one of
that
their
are put on
favorite
there.
ones is Michael Recycles. I mean, it's their videos and all types of books for all types of age ranges. So, yeah, they've got a lot, we've had a library for years of
Yeah.
that type of information.
I know Kermit the Frog, they have a book that is
Mm-hmm.
tough going green, and he's green, so
Yeah,
it's really cute.
We think we leave the book writing up to the board.
I'll speak with Mr. Campbell.
We always, some of us always looked at the Chapin Library as being part of the library system. And apparently there's a split now going on based on funding, but the Chapin Library is the only municipal library in the state. The rest of them are county systems. And I talked to them a lot of times with Miss Catherine Lewis, who was the librarian, and we tried so many ways to pull it in, but there was kind of a split there. But we'll be part of their system as much as they'll let us be.
Well, I hope they will, because I think Chapin, there are a lot of people in that area that use that library. That library is very used, and I don't see any reason why we couldn't partner with them and give them our materials.
We will, as much as they'll let us.
Great. Anything else on the library?
No,
No,
sir.
that's good. The blog pause update?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to share with you the results of the event recycling with the Blog Pause Conference that was held in Myrtle Beach, May 17th through the 20th. I guess it was a few days after the conference had been completed. Got email from Mr. Edmar over at Myrtle Beach indicating that they had achieved a 96% diversion rate through recyclings and waste diversion efforts for this particular conference. And the big feather in the hat was that it exceeded what they did in previous years. So that was the goal that he set, and he was able to attain it. So just wanted to let you know how well that event went. And the pictures there show, the picture on the left is our recycling system that we use for events that they utilize there. And then as well as some other containers that they got through the event. Just an update on how well that went.
So they actually started in 2010, and now they have over 3,000 registered participants? That's amazing.
Pet lovers
Yeah.
unite.
Well, what a great way to get the information out. And
Yeah.
help educate. That's wonderful.
They're on top of it.
Good.
Maybe we need to have a mascot pet. If they get that much attention, maybe we need a pet. A seagull. An eagle. An eagle. We have an eagle out there.
Any
Scary.
questions about the conference?
Scary.
Okay. Item 3, ocean plastic exhibit.
Yes, sir. At a previous meeting, Ms. Pam informed us about the plastic exhibit that's going on at the Wilmington Museum, and indicated that you thought it might be great if teachers or, whomever might be able to go and see the exhibit on their own. And of course, they don't have that flexibility during school. So we waited till we got to the end of the school year just to kind of put it out there and see if anyone might be interested in going on a day trip, basically, up to the Wilmington Museum. We sent the information to every liaison, so that's 1 to 2 people in every school in Horry County. And offered, as we do when we do the Take Action Today workshop that DHEC does actually that's coming up next month in Columbia, we offer to, they carpool with us, so it doesn't have any cost on them as far as driving to get there. So far, our trip is planned for this Friday, the 16th. So far, my last discussion with Victoria and Kendra, we had 4 teachers who indicated they would be going with us. So we're looking forward to making the trip on Friday and looking at the exhibit.
I think that's great.
I do too.
What time will you be leaving?
The exhibit, I believe the museum opens, I believe they said at 11. Our plan is to leave here about 8:30, get to Wilmington hopefully around 11 and have lunch first, and then go to the exhibit, and then from there, come on back home.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, good. We'll look forward to a recap of that trip too. When
Yeah.
we get back.
Hopefully it'll be a good time had by all. We
I'm
have
sure
good
it will.
field trips. Good field trips.
Good. Any questions about the exhibit in Wilmington?
It's gonna be held, where's it, you have a physical address of where it's gonna be held?
It's here.
Is it on
On-
right
on the
here?
bottom.
Right here? Okay, all right.
16 North Porch. And I think it's gonna be running through August. I believe they've extended it
So are
because
they
it was
gonna-
supposed to end last fall, but they extended it through the summer.
Is it gonna be like on, through the weekend? Or is it just on that Friday?
No, it runs, they have specific hours as far as when they're open. There's certain days they're not open. I wanna say like Monday and Tuesday, maybe they're not open, and they're open the remainder of the weekend, maybe not Sunday. But it's a current exhibit. They usually have one exhibit at a time at this particular
Yeah.
museum, so it's what's on exhibit now.
Are they still doing the fashion show with plastics, dresses and things? In that?
I'm trying to remember from what I read last. I wanna say they are, but I'd have to double check, because they did extend the entire
I'm
exhibit.
fairly certain they are.
Yeah.
Okay, I may have to go Friday. I may
Okay.
meet y'all up there.
Well, just let us know. We'll look
Okay.
for you.
Talking about the schools, is there an update on the schools' food recycling? How are we doing with that? Was there?
We're doing pretty well. In this month's board packet, I'll have an update on Talking Trash.
Okay.
And Talking Trash was down this particular school year. Had a couple of different things going on, like a hurricane that kind of put a kink in some things for some people. And we've met with Greg Sponseller just to kind of talk about that, to see how we might tweak the program. And you know, everything needs to be refreshed every so often. And just wanted to get his input. And we kind of talked about incorporating all aspects of what we're doing in the schools as far as recycling, to include paper recycling, cafeteria recycling, the Talking Trash program, as well as the food waste recycling. So the program's working well. He's had a few things that they had to make adjustments for initially. Things that you don't really think about. You know, you get students on board to do something, and they want to do such a good job that what some of them began doing is getting more food than they were going to eat in the first place, so they can have something to recycle. And that wasn't the intent, you know.
No, it wasn't.
But they wanted to, you know, yeah, so, you know, little things like that, you know, contamination, we try to, if ever there's loads that come in with contamination, we try to get to it as soon as possible so we can back up to the school to say, look, this is what we found in your, so for the most part, it's working well. It's working well.
Good. Any questions about that?
Those kids that thought that idea of getting more food to go away, they'll make good wives.
Now, some of them were guys, I heard.
That's exactly right.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
actually.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, they wanted to be on top of it.
The last question I have,
Mm-hmm.
I know that Kendra and Victoria's schedules were impacted by the law changing last December with the overtime and all. Has that been a struggle, or can you tell us, is that working okay? Or, I mean, I know traveling and
Mm-hmm.
shows, and, I mean, it really impacted everybody.
Yes,
And-
sir. Well, as it turns out, I guess it was the week before it was supposed to take effect, but it didn't. A judge in Texas filed a petition, a nationwide petition that affected it in the whole nation. So right now, it's technically on hold.
Okay.
We did in preparing for what was coming, we did start talking about scheduling, how we schedule events, how we cover events, to try to lessen the impact of having, number one, extensive overtime, because we have no budget for overtime in that department, none in that department at all. At the same time, being able to, if you work a Saturday, trying to get you some time off during the course of the next week. So what we started doing was, if we had an event on a Saturday, we try to, in the next week, not schedule something on at least 2 days. It's a two-person department, so then you can't both be out on the same day. So, so we started trying to look at our schedule a little bit differently. With it still being out there and not knowing for sure when it might pop back up, we're just trying to maintain our schedule in that kind of format. Right now, if they work on a Saturday, we attempt to try to get them some time, because we're not trying to, abuse people. So we try to get them some time off during the course of the week. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll have a late night one night this week. We'll be at the Burgess Community Association meeting on Thursday evening, and their meeting starts at 7. So we'll kind of do some stuff here, head over there, stay over there with them, and that's a Thursday. Well, our weekend's Friday. They might just have some time this week that they had extra. So we try to make it a good balance, so that we're not, we don't want to abuse anybody. But they are very good at what they do, and they understand it's part of the interview process. We work all types of hours in what we do. So they take it and run with it, and for the most part, no complaints whatsoever. So great staff.
Yeah, I had seen where that was put on hold, that they did not do that, and it'll be interesting to see if they follow
yeah.
through with that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Anything else from recycling?
No, sir, I don't think so.
How about from the committee?
I have been getting quite a few calls about plastic. They're the Surf Riders, the League of Women Voters, the Chirping Birds, the Sierra Club, the different things. Surf Riders have really got involved in the plastics because of the ocean plastics and the problems, and they've been having different forums and a lot of things. And I got an email, which I forwarded to you, and we can talk about later, but they're about to have some more forums, evidently, educational, and they want to have some information from us on what problems plastic bags are doing and what they're costing us. So I think Esther's going to look into that.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know if the South Carolina Department of Commerce has any national figures or problems, or I know the private industry, through going to some of the conventions, plastic bags are #1 burden to private industry as well as public industries. But evidently, through Foley Beach, I think the League of Women Voters, we had gone to a forum they had, and Foley Beach banned not only plastic bags, but styrofoam. And I think there was one other thing, and even if you buy it, you can't bring it onto the beach, even into the homes and on the beach, so.
I'm gonna need to catch this.
Okay. Okay. So I think we're going to be getting more questions about that, and what plastic bags and those kinds of things, what they cost us, what our process is, what they're doing to the environment. So it goes along with what we're trying to do as well. I'm thankful that the public is becoming knowledgeable enough through some of those other meetings and forums that people are having, because like if I go to breakfast or whatever now, people will ask me about that, just like the loan that we're not putting in there and what to do with it. So I think this is becoming an issue, not only with us and with private industry, and the Ocean people or the Sierra Club, but it's gotten into local people's thinking. And I would hope that whatever information that we have is public anyway, but we'll share that with them and help them with that. It's just interesting that the public and so many people are so interested in plastic bags.
I think probably what we need to do is put together a fact sheet and be an official resolution from the board where anybody needs information, we can send them the resolution
Right.
based on what it's doing with us, because
Yeah,
if we're not careful, we'll be getting a statement from the MERP and then another one, and it's kind of disjointed. And I think if we have a statement from the board, that would,
that's a great idea.
I think that'd be
That is a great
heavier
idea.
than just
Yeah.
getting a statement from me or
Yeah.
Esther or something.
Yeah. I think you're right, and I think we do need to do that, and we do need the cost, see the cost. And the pictures you had on the MRF one day with all of the plastic bags and them going on to the golf course, they're actually going off of our property, and we have some responsibility to that. Also, Mr. Ives had told me last year that plastic bags are some of the worst things they have to deal with when they do their cleanups in the river. Yeah. And that we have in our cleanup, and it's one of the biggest complaints of the public that needs to be done. So it's gotten to the degree that I think the board does need to discuss it. We do need to know what it costs. The public doesn't like it. Highway 90 people get a lot of it. Palmetto Pride is having a problem with it, picking it up. The river keepers and those people are having problems with it. It's going off our property. It costs money in our equipment, and I think it's come to the time that we need to know the cost in all of those things.
I think when you get involved with the Commerce Department, the first meeting I attended with Esther when I came here was in Columbia. And the first hour, I sat and watched the dynamic of the groups, and it was the different recycling people. And we took a break, and I said, Esther, everybody in this room does not like each other. Because, you know, some says, don't burn it. It needs to be recycled. And the recycler, and it was, and when you get on the state level, Commerce Department, you got people like Sunoco, that's their business. Bags and film and cartons and all that stuff. And it's gonna be hard for them to fight a system like that, but I think it is getting better, because the companies are making attention now. The grocery stores and Publix, and I believe those type people are gonna force Food Line to do better than they're doing. So I think the wave's there, and they didn't succeed in at the Capitol this year, but our delegation is pushing that bill. So we've got to, I would like to understand really what's got them involved in it.
Yeah.
Like they are, but,
That is true, and at the conventions, there are a lot of people there that have plastic bags. As the lady told me, it's not the plastic bag's fault. I don't argue with that. It's an inanimate, it doesn't move. It's sitting right there. We can either choose to use that, or we can choose not to use that. And just like so many of the people that come as tourists here and that move here, they are accustomed to mandatory recycling. And they like it, and they understand it, and they want it. And I think that has had to do. Several of the people that have been calling me are from Carolina Forest. They've only been living there 6 months or a year. And they are actually individually starting up calling to legislators about plastic bags. Evidently, I don't know if it's become the thing to do or to work with, that people are so interested in it. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the ocean information and the water and the dolphins and the turtles and things. I think that's one reason the surf riders have become so active in this. Before now, they were not. But I think that is, and so I think people have their own reasoning, but I think it's a time that has come that the public by themselves have become so interested in this.
And I think the tourists now are driving the thing with the beaches, with
Yeah.
the cities. I mean, I've heard so many times, and Esther and I was on a committee at Myrtle Beach about the rules and regulations and changing, and they pretty much said, it's tourists, they don't want to do it. And we'd heard it so much at the home show, they were demanding it.
Yeah.
And I think they finally realized that they are demanding
Yeah.
recycling, and that's the reason they put cans on the beach and double
Well,
the cans, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's coming. There's going to be more of it.
You know, if our cities and tourist areas would embrace this, just like the last few conventions we went to, the one in Wilmington, that hotel gave us a paper bag to put our recyclables in. That convention had recyclable units there for you to use. I believe if Myrtle Beach or North Myrtle Beach or Surfside advertised as we are the recycling destination and the beach and what we can do, that would bring them business. It wouldn't turn anyone off, but it would, the people that are so interested in that, I think it would be helpful to them to bring there, because people are deciding the motels they go to or the convention centers they use or the restaurants they use, they're choosing ones that recycle. That's why the Wilmington Hilton had that there. And I think those are good choices for people. And if people would embrace it and work with it, not only would it cost them less to bring their recyclables to us than their trash, but they would actually get more business from people who are interested in this. On the stock market now, there are actual investors that only invest in things that are good for the environment and recycling, and they're making good money, good returns on their money for that. So it's something that goes through everything we do now, really, that interests people.
Well, they could do the same thing. They did it with smoking.
Yeah.
The non-smoking rooms, so if they did it that, and people got used to that. But the other thing that bothered me, I heard on the news last night that they're looking at defunding the prison systems where they come out and pick up trash. So now that says that we're not gonna have anybody picking up, if that goes through, that they said it's too expensive to pay the inmates to come out and pick up trash, that they're looking at maybe going to private sectors to do that. So if they defund that, that means we're not gonna have anybody on Highway 90 or anywhere else out for a while picking up.
Well, I think that's most of the state system. And the closer to Columbia you get, is the more state inmates you see picking up
Right.
on the roads and
Yeah.
cutting grass, and it's prettier and more flowers planted. But if we have heard, most of the areas that have great programs, there's, like the lady from Polly Beach said, you always have someone on a council or a mayor, Birmingham, push from the top down. It's easier to push it from the top down than the bottom
Than the
up.
lift.
Yeah.
And that's what I told Mark McBride about the highway cleanup. It's easier if you say do it, everybody down the line is gonna do it and be part of it. In Wilmington, there's somebody got to be pushing this stuff in Wilmington, because the convention center,
Yep.
you just bragged about, the museum up here has got the ocean plastic deal, so, we need to find out more of that type stuff and put our people on notice,
Yeah.
the mayors and, you know, like Barbara Blaine, I think just going to that one convention is really going to, light a fire where, there was already a fire, but
Yeah.
I think it's puffed it
I
up a
think.
little bit.
Well, some of the people from these organizations have been telling me that they're starting to get appointments with each municipality and to work within that. And I thought that was a good idea on their part, because if the people that live in those areas, just like the lady that her husband runs, Burgess, this came about because of her interest in that. And when people that are high up in these organizations become interested in this, and they're willing to go to the cities and the municipalities and to work with them, and they get that, and then to work through that, I've told all of them, the Solid Waste Authority, we have public input. You're welcome to come anytime you want. And we will listen to you, because we have problems with the plastic bags. We have problems with all of that, and we want to recycle, and we have programs there, and we're willing to help you. All you have to do is come and ask us, and we will respond to you from that period. But I was thrilled to hear, I think the two of the mayors they're going to see are Surfside and Conway, where they're starting, and then they're going to come right on down the line with that. So there is a movement afoot, and I'm glad to see that they're working with the mayors. And I'm sure they'll go to county council and the legislators and everything and pull that together. So that should be helpful to us in the future in what we're trying to do.
Well, the delegations are very important, and we heard one speak at the church the other night at the solar deal, and, you know, and I said, the point is, the TVs, these toxic TVs, the state passed a rule, you don't put them in the landfill. But you fail to follow through on making Sony and the rest of them somewhat responsible for the part that they sell in the state. So, I mean, Carolina Forest, they got ears there that they need to work on the delegation, and somehow or another we need to get with maybe Ms. Crawford and figure out what it is with this, what's pushing on the state level on this bag bill.
Well, that would be of interest, yes, because we're going to have to work not only with our local officials, but with our legislators. And you have to wonder if they know what it is costing their public landfills, because we're not the only one in the state. This goes through the whole state. It's not just us, but there are other public landfills and private ones that are having the same problems with the same equipment and the same pickup that we have there. Just like the environmental luncheon tomorrow. I hadn't thought about it, but it would have been a great thing to invite some of the mayors to see which of their schools are getting these awards, how well their schools are interacting, and to hear the comments from their teachers about plastic bags in their areas. And the mayor from Conway had talked with me again, and I had talked with her about having some of for the last 5 years, I don't know which of her students have won awards in Conway, and the teachers. But I think I would like for that to be the next TV show that we did with her. That would be the last 5 years on the students that won, the sculptors and the teachers that have won the awards here, so that she as a mayor can actually see what their schools are involved in and what they're passionate about, so that she can get involved even more than she is in that. And I really do appreciate the involvement that she has shown.
Just a couple of things. I don't want, I want to make sure we do say, you mentioned Wilmington Convention Center and the Hilton in that area, and they did a great job with that convention that year. Myrtle Beach Convention Center also does recycling. They offer that service as a part of the functions that they have there, and we have several hotels, not just national named hotels, but small mom and pop hotels that also are passionate about recycling and offering that as a perk to staying at their particular location. The Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce on their website identifies those businesses in Myrtle Beach who have a green business mentality, and you can find the listing of those businesses on their website. So there is some movement in the county with regard to promoting those locations that are actively trying to promote a green lifestyle or business style. Our environmental banquet, we have in the past invited not only municipal representatives, we always invite the entire school board, principals, because our goal also is to make sure, the teachers' efforts, the staff efforts don't go unnoticed by those who need to see what they're doing. So that's something we usually will do as far as our invitations go. Banquet's not tomorrow, it's next month on the 13th. Yeah, when she said,
On my calendar
Yeah.
right now.
When you said tomorrow, I was like,
because that's why I hesitated for a second, I was like, wait a minute.
I couldn't find it.
It is it's the 13th, but it's not tomorrow. I
Is
just
it
got back.
July the
Yes, ma'am.
13th? Well, I put it on June the 13th. Well, I'm glad I mentioned it. I will not be here tomorrow at 12.
That's the-
July
Yeah.
13th.
missed that one.
I know, I knew I put that on my calendar.
There would have been no
Thank
food.
you for clearing that up.
No problem.
I was.
Sorry about that.
It's keeping us on our toes.
I just wanted to
Alright.
see if you knew.
Yeah.
Actually, I put it on the I put it on June, not July.
It's okay.
I started coming.
Both of us, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's
good.
my first mistake of the year.
Anything else from the committee?
I don't know.
Anything else from staff? Well, we thank you for all the efforts and recycling and everything else, and, I think we got a lot to be proud of in the efforts that are being made, and a lot of people, supporting the, initiatives that have been started about recycling. It is very important, like we talked about, and I think more and more people are getting on board, and, we're making progress, so appreciate everything.
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's nothing else, then, I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All righty, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We won't see you tomorrow at the environmental.
Yeah, I
Watch.
won't say tomorrow. I was like,